titled Why Players Lose Too Much Money at the Tables. We thought we'd take just a different look at the game and the perspective of playing craps. You know, most players play the same way game after game after game. So we thought we'd take a little change and look at the way some people's plays. Some of the information you're going to see is just going to be good common sense, but a lot of players lose their common sense when they're in the heat of the battle. So before we start, I do have to make one announcement. I have to thank everybody who's been with us for the last year or two. We just received our new copy of the Platinum Craps and Dice Setting book. We sold out of the first book. We just got in our second printing, and we made some changes, all for the better. So you're going to get some additional information. We put in a couple new photos, and we think it's going to just be a little easier for people to learn. I also want to send a special thank you to all the people that went online and purchased the Platinum Craps Super System. We've had some players from all over the country. I mean, it's really been pretty strong. Carlos from Brooklyn, Arkansas. Leonard from Lubbock, Texas, the home of Buddy Holly. Robert from Dorchester, Mass. Michael from Denver, Colorado. So we thank everybody. I also have to give out a special shout out to the editor of Casino Player magazine. They contacted me. It says local recording stopped. Why is that? That stopped. Hang on. Are we on? I hope we're on. Anyways, I want to say a special shout out to the editor of Casino Player. They contacted me and asked me to write an article for them. So I did an article, and it was called Maximizing Returns, House Edge versus Real Math, Casino Math versus Real Math. I did something in the Platinum Craps book about it, but I did an article for Casino Player. This is the #1 gambling magazine in the country, so I hope you take advantage and take a look at it. You can go on our Facebook group, the article's on there. And in the future, you're going to be able to win a couple subscriptions to Casino Player. I'm working with an event in the near future, and we're going to give away some subscriptions. So keep posted, and we'll give you more information about that. All right. So anyways, we just want to thank everybody for all their support and, comments and questions and everything. So I think we should get started. Thank you to everybody who's checked in. All right. Remember, when you're playing craps, guys, it's a game. You know, just like checkers and chess and Yahtzee, Monopoly, baseball, football. Sometimes you win the game. Sometimes you lose the game. All right. There's an old saying in the business, winners tell everybody, losers only talk to themselves. All right. We have a very special guest tonight. We're going to get into a lot of different things that you can do at the table that's going to benefit you as far as methods of play, the different types of tables. We're also going to be talking about timing and luck. I wrote about this lady in the Platinum Craps book, and a title called Lady Luck is a fickle female, the energy of the universe, the energy of the table. Her name is Miss Gwen Miller. So I just want to introduce you to her. Hopefully she's on the line, and then we're going to get back to her. Gwen, are you on the line?
Sure am.
Okay, there she is. I hope everybody can hear her. Well, I know she's back in Michigan. Gwen, we're going to be getting some questions for you, and I've got some people checking in already, just saying hello. We're going to put their names up. So we're going to get back to you in a little bit. And if anybody has any questions about timing, and I know you're going to explain a little bit about astrology and how it can be used at the table, we're going to get into that. So anyways, guys, I know you see all kinds of shows on YouTube and Facebook, bet this way, you can't lose, bet that way. Every system works on occasion. Every system, even the wildest systems in the world work on occasion. Well, that same system will fail on occasion, all right? So you have to know what system to use while you're playing at the table. I found out through the years of playing and being successful, also as a dice setter, I kind of broke it up into 3 categories. I call it KTT. K stands for knowledge. You got to be perfect. You got to know the game from all aspects. The do side of the table, the don't side of the table, hedge betting. Part 2 is T. That stands for talent. How you hold the dice, your grip, your throw. Practice makes perfect. The types of the tables you're playing on. Is it bouncy? Is it hard? Is it a soft table? Is it shooting more do or more don't? And then the third initial of that KTT is timing and trends. And we're going to get into that deep tonight. And Gwen's going to get into that with you. So I think those are the 3 big issues that you need to know. KTT, knowledge, talent, timing. Many players only learn certain parts of the game. They basically just play on the do side of the table. Well, it's a 50-50 game. Just like baseball or football or basketball or checkers or chess, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. So you have to learn both sides of the table. You just can't rely on one side of the table. And you also have to know how to hedge bet. That's more for the advanced players. Everybody probably knows by now, John Patrick and I put together the super system. I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but that gives you everything. You have to know the big 4, bankroll, knowledge, money management, discipline. Then there's the little 3, theory on how to play. Logic, everything we do has a logical explanation of why we make our bets. And the third part of that is trends, which is timing. Trends dominate. Okay, trends are so important. Warren Buffett once made a comment. He says, they only measure you on what you have done. They don't measure you on what you could have done. That means you only take the chips to the table that you've won with. It doesn't matter what you could have done at the table. So you have to play correctly, know how to play on all 4 types of tables, and go with the flow. I found this out a long time ago. Players around the table think that every shooter is a savior and that every shooter is going to roll 20, 25 rolls. Well, it's not going to happen. It takes 1 out of 10, 1 out of 12 games to have a real long roll. And by that, I mean at least 15 rolls. The average game lasts, 5 to 6, 5 to 7, 5 to 8 rolls. Okay? So you have to be aware of what's going on in your surroundings and play accordingly. Okay? I've had long rolls. I've had over 55 rolls. Okay? But I've also gone 2 and out, 3 and out, 4 and out. The energy just wasn't on my side. Okay, just like there's 4 seasons in the year, spring, summer, fall, and winter, there's 4 types of tables. You have to know how to play on each type of table. And what's great about the game of craps is everyone's playing their own game within a game. Okay, some people are playing a do, some people are playing a don't, some people are making place bets, some people are making come bets. Whatever the player does next to you has nothing to do with the way you play. So you're in control of your own game. Of course, if you're setting the dice and rolling, that hopefully will help. But John Patrick was never a dice setter. He never set the dice ever. He just passed the dice. So anyways, you're in control. You're your own ship. If you only play one method, which is basically the do side, and you just play that same method game after game after game, you're what's known in the business as a one-trick pony. All right? 50% of the time it's heads, 50% of the time it's tails. There's basically 4 types of tables, and I think we should go over that real quick. Number 1's the do table. That's everyone's favorite. When the table's rolling number after number after number, but it doesn't happen that often, okay? You have to have a win goal and a loss limit. If things are going well, you can press and bet a little heavier. If things aren't going well, you got to regress. If you get to about 40 to 50% of your buy-in and you're down to a 50% loss limit, stop. Just stop for a while. The energy's not going your way. There's the don't table. We've all seen this, 2 and out, 3 and out, 4 and out. There's an old saying, all right bettors die broke. I wrote a whole chapter about it, okay? The don't table comes up anywhere from 48 to 52% of the time. I have a book in my collection here from Golden Touch Craps. They say that the don't comes up 57% of the time, aka the 5-count system. That 57% of the shooters are going to 7 out within 5 rolls. Well, if you go up to your search bar and you type in the 10 top myths in craps. We did a big show. We went over that. So I came up with, I call the Garrison 5-count don't system. We start on the don't pass line. If the shooter 7's out in 5 rolls, guess what? You win. If he doesn't 7 out, you have the option to take that bet off because it's not a contract bet, and you can place the point or any number you want. So, it's just another way of looking at something that's been written in the book. By the way, I don't know if you have the book, and this is the author talking, not me, but down on page 106, he says, the 5-count system is still a losing way to bet. Nowhere do I say that using the 5-count system will make you a winner. Why is that? Because no betting method can make you a winner because all bets on the crap table carry a negative house edge. All right, right from the author. So again, you have to know how to play on both sides of the table. The third type of table, the choppy table, back and forth, back and forth. I mean, that's one of the hardest tables to play on because you just don't know if the shooter's going to make the point or 7 out, back and forth. I mean, you have to be a psychic to figure out that type of table. You just can't get into that energy. The Asians call it chi, which is positive energy. And the fourth type of table, and I put this in the book, I call it a torpedo table. We've all been to them. They're the worst type of table to play on. A torpedo table is no matter where you make your bet, it comes up opposite. You're betting on the pass line, the shooter 7's out. You're betting on the dunk, the shooter goes 3 11s in a row. You're betting hard ways, the shooter, makes the number easy. I mean, you're just totally not in sync. And if I'm at a torpedo table, I used to think, oh, gee, everything's going to change and I'll just stay here. Well, it didn't, okay? When you run out of money, the game's over. So if you're at a torpedo table, just stop playing, You're not in sync with the energy. All right, so those are basically the 4 types of tables. There's an old tip. You don't have to be Nikola Tesla to figure some of this out, but you do need some good common sense. All right. So let's use some common sense while we're playing. Figure out what table you're at. Do, don't, choppy, torpedo, and play accordingly. 95% of you guys only play on the do side of the table. You press. When you 7 out, you lose most of your bankroll. So, start looking and being aware of your surroundings, all right? By the way, pop quiz. Why do you think there's more long rolls by random rollers than dice setters? I mean, the world record was May 29, 2001 at the Bogota in Atlantic City by Patricia DeMuro. She was a random roller. They called her a chicken feeder. 154 rolls. She holds the record, 23 years ago? All right, and how many millions and millions of games have been played since then? With a lot of people setting the dice, nobody has come close to her. So my question is, and if you know the answer, put it up on the screen, why are there more long rolls by random rollers than dice setters? Anyone? Bueller? All right, I want to know the answer. Let's see here. Like I said, if you use the same method, game in, game out for every game, you're going to be lucky if you break even, okay? Pete Rose, the #1 baseball player of all time, had 4,200, and I think it was like 37 hits. 77% of his hits were singles. Now, what does that tell you? What that tells me, he was looking for a day's pay. He wasn't going up trying to hit a home run. In fact, in his career, he only had 3% of his hits for home runs. 3%. And he was the #1 hitter of all time. So he was looking for a day's pay. We always tell everybody in class, I'd rather win 20% of every game, game after game after game, than have one big win and then lose 20% for the next 10, 15, 20 rolls. Okay? By then you're in the hole. So look for a day's pay. Don't be a pig. Be happy with a day's pay. Remember, the banks pay you 1% a year. So for every $100 you put in your bank, you get $1 a year. Some banks pay you 2 to 3%. Okay, you get $2 to $3 a year. If you're at the craps table and you win 20, 30% in an hour, man, I'd be a happy camper. Okay, very few people play on the don't side. Okay, and the downside can be your savior, but nobody wants to play it. You know, in dice setting, there's 6 master sets. 4 of them work for the do shooter, 2 of them work for the don't shooter. In dice setting, there's 3 ways for the 6, 3 ways for the 8, 2 ways for the 4, 5, 9, and 10, and 2 ways for the 7 on the do side. On the don't side, there's 4 ways to roll a 7 or win in your case, only 1 way for the 4, 6, 8, and 10, and 0 ways for the 5 and 9. Those are the best odds you're ever going to get at the dice table, and I'll bet you less than 5% of the people that watch this show have ever set the dice from the don't side. But that's the odds. I wrote about it in the book. Okay. In fact, I always laugh when I go to the tables and I'm watching the game, and the guy puts a small bet on the don't pass line side, and the shooter goes, "Oh, the don't pass, you're ruining the energy of my roll. You're ruining the energy of the game." Well, first of all, you're not rolling the dice, he is, okay? And I've never, in all my years, and I've been in this game a long time, I've never seen a shooter tell the dealer, well, I'm betting on the do side. I'm making a pass line bet, I'm taking odds, I'm making a come bet, I'm making place bets, buy bets, horn bets, field bets. So I'm on the do side, you're on the don't side. Well, if you tell that to the dealer, he's just going to laugh in your face, all right? And say, listen, you're shooting the dice, roll the dice. We're going to fade your bet and see if you can beat us, okay? So every time you make a bet on the do side, the house is the don't. If you make a bet on the don't side, the house is the do. Now the odds are in your favor, but you don't see a lot of don't shooters at the table that much, okay? And by the way, and I did this in the top 10 myths, if you're on the don't side, don't lay odds. We've gone over this in other shows. The more odds you lay, the less your return on investment. If you're on the don't side, they have to pay you 100% on your money. As soon as you start laying odds, you lower your return on investment. I did 2 shows on it, All Right Bettors Die Broke, and the top 10 myths and craps. So go up to your search bar and check out those shows. Although recently I was playing, and about 2 players away, there was a gentleman betting heavy on the don't. And it was a good table. I actually looked at my chart before I went to play. We're going to get into that a little bit later. I was rolling a lot of numbers. This guy was taking his don't pass line bet. We were at Red Rock. They have 10 times odds. He was laying 10 times odds on every number. And he was just getting knocked out. Eventually he left, but he lost about $3,000 in less than a half hour. I mean, you know, don't fight the energy of the table. Go with the flow of the energy, okay? If the shooter's rolling numbers, get on them. If the table's cold, you know, learn how to use the don't side of the table, all right? You know, and what's wrong with, placing? I know you guys like to place and press. I get it. We all do it. But what's wrong with starting a little bit higher, and as soon as you get a hit, regress? In class, I say to my new rollers, you know, and they're not big-time players, start at $30 on the 6 and 8. If it hits, take your 35 and regress it down to 24 or 20 or 18. You've got your $35 in wins. You've got your regression. So even if the shooter sevens out, you've got more money in your chip rack than you have on the table. It's called Peter Press versus Randy Regress. If you haven't read the chapter, check it out. There's a whole chapter in the book about it. I give you the charts. I give you the whole. I run it through 5 different rolls. Okay. Excuse me. What's the book title? Well, it's called Platinum Craps and Dice Setting. You can go on the website. You get a free dice setting card when you order on the website. It's on Amazon, but you don't get the dice card on Amazon. You order on the website. We're shipping out the brand new 2nd edition. Thank you. We sold out of the 1st edition. We printed 1,000 copies because we didn't know how many we were going to sell. Those are gone. So you'll get the new edition. Anyways, what we're talking about, place betting. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with taking your profits early. Remember, there's 3 types of players: bulls, bears, and pigs. Bulls are very aggressive. They just press, and then they 7 out. It's not a question of if the 7's going to come. It's a question of when the 7's going to come. 7's been coming ever since the game started. So I'm always a bear. I want to get some money in my chip rack. You know, there's 2 racks. The first rack is the money you're playing with. The second rack is the money you keep. All right, so I want to get some of the house money right away, and then if the table gets hot, I'll start pressing on their money. I don't want to be spending my own money. You know, if it's a don't table, I switch over to the don't side. I use the don't come box a lot. It's one of the best parts of the table. Nobody uses it. Why do you think the don't come box is so small, but the come section takes up half the table? They don't want you playing the don't come. And then when you hedge bet it, the way we teach, you've got the house against the wall. In fact, you can have the odds as high as 7-2, which is 3.5 to 1 in your favor. Those are the best odds you're ever going to get in any game at any casino. If you can find a game that gives you better than 3.5 to 1 in your favor, I'll start playing it tomorrow. But it's not there. And by the way, that 7-2 or 3.5 to 1 is by betting on the don't side and hedge betting. I talk about it in class. We write about it. That's why John Patrick and I put together the super system. Somebody asked me about the book. The super system, you get two books, either the brown book, which is on the right side of the screen, 350 pages, or let me see if I can come in here real quick. Okay. Or, yeah, okay, so you get the brown book that's on the right side of the screen, or the Master Holy Grail, the 650-page book. You get 5 hours of instruction on flash drive. I mean, beginning, intermediate, advanced, super, and my dice setting class. You know, we made this like Geronimo's for adults. My little niece is 11 years old. She's already through the first 2 classes. She's going to be a monster player. You get the Platinum Craps book, you get the dice setting cards. So, you know, we give you everything. And I mean, I've seen everything out there, and dollar for dollar, I definitely think this is probably one of the best values on the market. All right? You buy it, you don't like it, send it back in 5 days, we'll send you your money back. I haven't had one super system return, but it's there. All right, so anyways, you've got to learn the game from all types, all right, and from all sides, okay? I talked about timing. Boy, timing is so important in this game. I wrote a whole chapter. It's called Lady Luck, the Fickle Female, the energy of the universe, the energy of the table. All right. You know, what makes a good comedian? Timing. In craps, timing is I think it's as much as 40 to 50% of the game. You know, I'd rather be at a good table with timing and not even touch the dice than throw the dice and 7 out in 5 rolls. Okay. So, in fact, I met Mike Tyson at a party once, and we were talking about old school Vegas, and he brought up a story. He said, Frank Sinatra once told me, meaning Mike Tyson, hey, kid, it's not how good you're doing that counts. It's how long you're good that counts. Longevity, okay? One game doesn't make you a winner, okay? Let's see what you do over, 50 to 100 games. Like I said earlier, I'd rather win 20% every time I play than have that one big win. And you always see that on Facebook. Look how much money I won. Look how much money I won. And then go back and lose 10, 20, 30% for the next 20 games. And that happens a lot. So anyways, it's consistency that counts. All right. Not just the one trick wonder. Everybody, can be a one trick pony. All right. So anyways, speaking of timing, let's bring in Gwen Miller, and she's going to explain a little bit about some things you may not understand or you may not know about, but I've worked with her for years. Gwen, are you online?
I sure am.
All right, here's Gwen Miller, guys. I hope you can hear her. Let us know. Gwen, introduce yourself to the viewers. Tell them a little bit about, what you've been doing, maybe how astrology can help them in their game, and a little bit about timing and things like that.
Yeah, astrology is great for a lot of things, and I've been into it for, I got started in it, I think it's 1980, so that's been a couple of years ago. To make it simple, because once you've been into it for so long, you can talk over people's heads and they don't understand what you're talking about. What astrology is, most people have heard of their sun sign. Like right now the sun is in the sign of Cancer. But they think that's the entire chart, and they're like 1 in 12 people, which they're not. right now in the sky, the sun is in Cancer, but every other planet and the moon is also in the sky. And when you do an astrology chart, what you're doing is taking a snapshot of where every planet is in the sky at that moment, and even below the Earth's axis and above. So if right now, as a matter of fact, the chart at the very moment, there is no planets above because the moon's down low in the sky, and so is the sun and all the planets. So that's what astrology is as a map. And the sun is just one piece of the puzzle. That's real predictable because it's based on the time of year. The first moment of spring is the first moment the sun goes into Aries. The seasons are based on the sun cycle. The rest of the chart, there's a wheel which it's based on the time of day, and that's a map of the Earth's rotation on its axis. And so anyway, to try to explain too much that's going to help people, using everything in the chart is difficult at this stage of the game. But what we can do is look at what shows maybe not good times to play, because those can be a little more predictable. Some of the planets that create problems are Saturn, which is like a cooler and it's like a don't side of the table. Uranus, which is like a real erratic energy. Neptune, which is where you forget what you're doing or aren't paying attention, or sometimes you'll get an inspiration. And Pluto, which is like a real powerhouse, which can just wipe you out, or it can give you a big win, depending on how it fits your chart. And Jupiter, which is more of a expansion chart,
All right.
Expansion planet.
All right. Let me just hold up for a second. I just want to review real quick. So, guys, I hope you can hear, but basically what she's saying is your chart is like a fingerprint. All right, it's like your fingerprint from an astrological point of view. Your sun is your outgoing personality. I'm a Gemini. I was born the same day as Frank Lefty Rosenthal, who some of you may know. Robert De Niro played him in Casino. He ran the Stardust. I'm pretty good with numbers. He was excellent in numbers. But his planets were in different signs because he was born on a different year, etc. So we share the sun sign of Gemini. As she said, the moon rules your emotions. Pluto can be, positive. Saturn can be a little negative. The key planet that we're looking for is Jupiter. Jupiter helps rule winnings, and I've got a book in my collection. I got a lot of books in my collection, and this is called The Secret Language of Luck, and there's a whole big chapter on Jupiter and Saturn. So she's just trying to explain to you that certain planets in your chart, and when they hit your chart on certain days, can be positive or negative. She made a great statement earlier. These charts can tell you when not to play. All right? Most people don't think about that. They just go, when can I play? When can I play? When can I play? Well, there's a lot of times, like a Mercury retrograde, that you shouldn't play, and you're going to save a lot of money. So I hope that explains a little bit about it. I didn't want to interrupt you, Gwen, but go ahead.
That's all right. Yeah, I don't want to get into too much about interpreting the planets, but I really want to get into saying what I can do and help people, even right now, without knowing their chart or what day they're looking at. Some of the outer planets, like Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, move very slow. So they're on the horizon around the same time every day in the same location. Or they're on the top of the chart, which is like where the sun is at noon, about the same time every day. And they're at the bottom of the chart. And so those bottom of the chart, the top of the chart, and the horizon are the three biggest indicators. And whether they hit your chart or not, if you've got a negative planet there, it can show a real negative cooler table or a choppy table, that type of thing.
I have the chart up for today. I don't know if it's showing really well on camera. I know it's probably pretty small, but I did put the chart up for the day. And we have pretty advanced software. I'm just going to show them one thing that I know you use, Gwen, that you can actually hit on the chart, and I've got this going by minutes, so hopefully they can see this. All right. If you can see this, guys, look at the bottom. You can see that these planets are moving around the chart as the time changes. Just like the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, these planets are moving around the sky while you're playing. So Gwen is
basically the Earth's rotation on its axis.
There you go. The Earth's rotation's on its axis. So by looking at the chart and having advanced software, we can actually see where the planets are going to be before we go play. And I know Gwen has taken my chart many a times and compared it with the chart for the day. It's what they call a composite chart. She can actually get two charts up on the screen, and she can tell me, Jupiter's hitting a very favorable position at this point in time. Now, sometimes it's only 15, 20 minutes. This isn't a long time. So I get in, I power press, I look at my watch about 2 to 3 minutes before the chart is going to change. I take my place bets down, and then what I do is I start taking some DC bets, don't come bets. I get those bets behind the line. And lots of times I may not be shooting the dice, somebody else may. But when that 7 comes, I've already had my place bets off the table, and then I win all the DC bets. The casinos have no idea I'm doing this, but I've written the times down on a piece of paper. I have it there, and I'm utilizing the time of the day on when to make my move, when to press, when to not to press, and then when to make my bets on the don't side of the table, knowing that the 7 may come up. And it's worked more than once. Go ahead, Gwen.
And I've calculated some times for the folks out there if they want to get a little piece of paper and write some of the times down for what's coming up in Las Vegas right now.
Right. Yeah, because she has the chart. She has the software that I have. In fact, I got it from her. So we can talk on the phone or email, and she knows exactly what charts are going to be happening. Now, here's another trick that I've done. I did this on a cruise, okay? You want the longitude and latitude of where you're playing, and you can go on the internet and find out what time or what day the casino opened up. That's their birth chart. What I do is I actually go in to the casino, and I have my phone, and I have an app on the phone. I walk up to the table with a compass. It's a compass app. I punch in, I open up the compass. It gives me the day, but it gives me the longitude and latitude of exactly where I'm playing. Because if I'm playing in Atlantic City, there's a 3-hour time difference than if I'm playing in Las Vegas. So now I can give her the longitude and latitude of the casino, and then she can look it up with the day's chart, my chart, and we can really fine-tune this. Now on the cruise, we're on a ship. You don't know where you're at. You're in the middle of the ocean. But they had 5 TV channels. And one of the TV, most of them were terrible. Music, I just listened to music. But one channel had Meet Your Crew. Here's your captain. Here's the lady who runs the casino. Here's the second in command. And then it said, here is where you're at. And they showed a picture of the ship on a map. And guess what? They gave you the longitude and latitude of where you're at. I said, oh my God, this is unbelievable. All right. So I would put in the longitude and latitude of where we were at about an hour before we play. I knew exactly where we were. And then I would do the chart. And Gwen, you talk. I'm going to bring up the other chart that we use, Elfie's software. But you can pick it up from there.
All right, while you're doing that, I'd like to tell people in Las Vegas, so on the standard time you're on, right now, at this time of year, Jupiter at 8:40 p.m. is on the bottom of the chart, which is a lucky placement for it. Now, each day it's going to be a couple minutes earlier. So in a week it might be like a half an hour earlier than that. coming up, on the 30th as we change from the 29th to the 30th today. 1:42 a.m. in Las Vegas. That's another lucky time in general, but no matter where your planets are. And then another time is when it's on the top of the chart, which is at 8:42 a.m. on the 30th. So again, each day it'll repeat that same part of the chart every day for the next several months. But it changes about 4 minutes a day, 4 minutes earlier every day. So if you calculate it from there. Now, if you're in a different time zone, you have to adjust for that time zone.
Correct.
Based on Las Vegas's time.
All right, can you see this? Can you see the screen on where you're at? Are you seeing the show live?
I can see it.
All right, I've got Alfie's software up, where you can see the chart for the day and that green spot that's right there, which is real positive. I hope the people can see this. I don't know how it's coming out across YouTube, but what she's talking about.
It's blurry on what time and stuff.
It's blurry. Okay, well, like there's a really good time to play right here, but I know by looking at the chart it was really early in the morning. But even if it's early in the morning and I can blow that up, I'm just going to take this and blow that part up. This was around 4 a.m. Okay, and Gwen's had me go to the casino at 5 in the morning. Not that I wanted to get up that early, but you got to do what you got to do. So this is the chart just for about 4 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the morning, and you can see where all this green is. That's the positive times to play. Red is the negative. So
and that one's based on your specific planet, not just what's in general.
No, yeah, this was based. Well, I put in one of my students' chart. I didn't put my chart in, but
but that graph is based on a specific person.
Absolutely, a specific person. But it also, the top is the person, the middle is just the energy of the casino, and the bottom is the overall energy for everything. So even if you're having kind of a bad roll or you're not rolling real well, somebody else could be having a good roll, and you could be at the table just when that table's positive. I mean, look at Patricia DeMuro. All the other people that were at her table, they weren't rolling the dice, but they just cashed off of her energy. And I know for a fact, I don't have Patricia DeMuro's chart, but I know for a fact it was May 29, 2001 at the Bogota in Atlantic City. She started about 8:15 at night. She rolled for 4 hours, so that means she went past 12 o'clock into the next day. Now, Gwen has her chart. I would love to get Patricia DeMuro's chart. We only have
I would love to get it too.
Yeah, we'd all love to have it. But what I'm trying to say, guys, is with a little bit of information and a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of studying, you can get information that's going to help you. Now, Gwen is also, this was one of the first ones she wrote. She was writing her own software program. It's called On Your Game. And it was a profile specifically done just on that person. This is my chart. It's about 40 pages. And it goes through all kinds of information about that person. And I hadn't looked at this for a long time, okay? But here's just one little sentence talked about my Saturn in Virgo. There's nothing wrong with a lot of small wins, but why hold yourself back on those occasions when everything is right? The exception to this is when you are so serious about the game that you make it a profession and a well-defined game. Now, I told you I'm a little bit of a bear. Sometimes, even when it's really hot, I don't power press as much as I should. But it's not how much money you win, it's how little you lose. I'm always looking for at least 20, 30% profit. Okay, so sometimes I don't max out as much as I should. I'm going to start to do that more when I get more of Gwen's information. But yeah, like this. I love this one. How do you get the software and what's her name? Her name is Gwen Miller. Okay, you have to know something about astrology. Okay, we have the best software available, but it's not going to help you unless you know the subject matter. It's pretty advanced. But here's what we're going to try to do. I know Gwen's trying to figure out a way to get this information on her computer. We've done this privately for a few people. They've gone on trips. They said, I want to know what the best times are. So she took their chart and where they were playing, because we knew what casino they were going to be at. One was in the Bahamas. We looked it up, got the longitude and latitude. And she did the chart for those specific days. You know, she charges so much per hour. But the player had a lot more energy as opposed to just walking up blind and gambling. I'm not a gambler. I'm a percentage player. I want all the percentages I can. I know the game. I know the dice setting. I wrote one of the best books on dice setting. Not bragging, it's just a fact. Okay? Don't believe me, go on Amazon and read the reviews. I can tell you anything, I'm the author. Don't believe me, go read the reviews. But now I want to take Gwen's information and add that to the piece of the pie. It's just another tool in your toolbox. When everything is going your way, that's when you have the big wins. And you may not even be rolling the dice. Believe me, I've been at the tables lots of times, had some good returns on investment. I never touched the dice, okay? So, all right, so anyways, Gwen, there are people that are already trying to figure out, where do I get the software and what's her name? Well, her name is Gwen Miller. If you haven't read about her, go to the book, read that chapter. I wrote a whole chapter about her. You go to platinumcraps.com, get the super system. Here's
and nobody's getting the software though.
Yeah, nobody's getting the software. She owns that. So, but she will do the charts for you. We're trying to get it. Right now, we're just doing it on a one-to-one basis. It's only really for the professional, for the Platinum Craps Super members. And we're starting with those people because they already read the information. This is the chapter, Lady Luck, Are You Lucky? For the people that haven't seen the super system, you know, it's on the website. You can check it out. I had it here somewhere. Okay. Yeah, it looks like that. You get one of John's books, my book, all the classes on flash drive. Like I said, dollar for dollar, it's the best information in the market. So anyways, I think we have a few people's interest. What else do you want to talk about, Gwen? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I want to give people some ideas of when not to play.
Oh, okay, there you go. When not to play. Why go up and just lose your money if the energy is not in your favor? Go ahead, Gwen, you're on.
Saturn and Neptune are fairly close to each other at this point, and both of them are fairly negative. Saturn's a cooler, and Neptune's a dreamer. And they're happening in Las Vegas. The key placements of both of those planets, and so the times when you want to avoid playing. And this is going to be for the rest of the year around these times. But again, we're going to it's got to move about 4 minutes a day. So in about a week, you're going to want to adjust the time. But starting out at 3:25 p.m. for Saturn, which is a cooler, 9:35 p.m. and also 3:13 a.m. And again, in a week, you're going to want to adjust those times for half an hour, or if you're in a different time zone, adjust it for the time zone.
And how long does that trend last for? I know you gave the starting times. About how long would those trends last for?
Well, I would start about 5 or 10 minutes before the time I just gave.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like about the ending time. So just kind of watch when it starts heating back up.
Okay.
But then Neptune comes right by too. So not only is it the 3:25 p.m. for Saturn, but it's also 4 p.m. for Neptune. So maybe that whole time, quite honestly. And then there's 9:35 p.m. and 10 p.m. So that again, that half hour, and add a few minutes on either side of it. And 3:13 a.m. and 3:59 a.m. Again, Vegas time, and that's this is for today's information. But add a few minutes on each side, and then if you're doing it next week, add a half an hour or subtract a half an hour because it'll come out half an hour earlier. So those are times to watch out for. And another time to watch out for like a choppy table. Uranus is real unexpected and is pretty choppy. The pertinent times are around 7:40 p.m. Start about 10 minutes earlier than that. And, maybe go another 5 minutes after that. 12:42 a.m. and 7:42 a.m.
All right, what I'll do is, I know that's a lot of information, so after the show, I'll mark those times down. Guys, leave your comments about the show. I'll try to list those times for you. Now, that's Pacific Daylight Time, which is Vegas time. We're in Daylight Time. Back east, it's Eastern Daylight Time. You know, we change in the fall.
They repeat themselves every day at those times, but again, you got to adjust the time every day. A little bit earlier, a little bit earlier, a little bit earlier.
No, I understand.
Earlier each day.
Well, remember, we have a lot of beginning people here that are just learning this. But here's a book that I have in my collection. It's called It's All in the Timing, an astrological guide to timing. Now, Gwen knew the lady who wrote this. She passed away. By the way, she was born June 12th. Her name was Lorraine, and she lived here in Las Vegas. Gwen has this book. You can't find it. It's not available. It's out of print. I've had people offer me over $100 for this book. I'm not selling it. You know, I did make a copy for somebody, a good friend of mine, both sides, made a book together and sent it to her. But this book is strictly about astrology. You have to know a little bit about astrology. I'm not 100%, but I know basics. Gwen has this book. So there's information out there, okay? You know, and people say, oh, Garrison, that stuff doesn't work. It's all mumbo jumbo. You know, well, just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means you don't understand it. I don't understand Chinese or Russian, but there's billions of people speaking it right now as we're doing the show. They understand it. I don't. I don't understand quantum physics, but I know the timing works at the table. And I know people that have played baccarat and roulette, and it's worked for them. Obviously, we like to use it for craps, okay? Because you can adjust your play. You can bet do. You can
we've
bet
done
don't.
it a few times, haven't we?
Oh, yeah, we've done it. I mean, Gwen's been there. I mean, she's not a dice setter, but she's watched me play, and she's leaned over because I get so busy, I forget to watch my watch. She'll go, regress, time to regress. I don't even think about it, okay? It's just automatic. As soon as she says it, regress my place bets. Now I start taking some don't come bets. You know, even if I'm rolling 4 rolls later, we 7 out. We cash everything in, including the don't come bets, and we just go color in. That's it. We're done for that session. I know there's a story in Platinum Craps, and Gwen did it on a radio show. We were in Atlantic City. We were doing a show, and she said, "Hey, your chart looks pretty good." And I said, "Well, let's go play." We were just testing it out. This was really early. We went up to a table, and we didn't know about dice setting. Well, these guys were dice setters, okay? And she looked at me, and this guy heard her. She said, "Gare, the table's going to get cold in a few minutes. We gotta leave." We weren't really betting on the don't that much. And the guy next to her said, "Oh, you don't know who this guy is. This guy's a great dice shooter. He's going to roll for a half hour." She said, "Oh, okay," because she didn't know about dice. And next roll, he 7'd out. The guy looked at her and said, "When's the next time that the next trend's going to come?" Well, she told him. We came back that night. We got there about 10 minutes early, about 2 minutes before the trend started. Who came up to the table? All these guys. And we cashed out on that session. So, you know, it's talent, it's knowledge, and it's timing. KTT, knowledge, talent, timing. When you put all three together, you know, you got everything working for you. Here's a nice comment. I don't know this gentleman. We're just Queen Chief of 3 Kings. Very good information. Thank you. Well, check us out, guys. You know, check out the website, platinumcraps.com. Check out the super system. Check out the super system. You'll definitely find some great information. Gwen will be doing some charts for people on a very limited basis. Okay, she charges by the hour. I'm not going to get into it tonight. You can email me or get a hold of me or leave a comment on the below after the show, and we'll get a hold of people. So, all right. So, anything you want to wrap up, Gwen? Any closing statements you want to make about how it can be used for good or bad?
No, I just wanted to kind of. I know it's really hard when you don't have the person's charts, but those are in general the don't times. You know, don't play, or either put on a don't or don't play. And I just want to be able to give people a few little times to kind of give them a general idea that might be able to help them. Because those times are going to be around that same time for the rest of the year, because those are very slow-moving planets.
Well, and I thought I'd be a wise guy and try to outsmart her. So I said, oh, don't times. Well, why don't we just play on the don't side of the table and we'll win? She goes, no, you don't understand. That means the energy's off. So just because you're betting on the don't side of the table doesn't mean you're going to absolutely win. It just means you're not in sync. Okay, so it took me a little bit of while to learn that. Now I don't even question it, but sometimes I'm stubborn. I got to learn the hard way. Believe me, I learned the hard way. So when she says don't play, I don't play. I go see a show. I go out to dinner. There's other things to do. You just don't have to go to the tables. So, pop quiz, guys. I ask you, why are there more long rolls by random rollers than dice setters? Remember, the world record, May 29, 2001. That's 23 years ago. Random shooter rolled 154 rolls. She rolled a lot of sevens, but they were all in a come-out roll. Okay? Well, the answer is, let's say you're in a raffle and you have 90 raffle tickets and the rest of the people only have 10. Well, the odds say you have 90 chances of winning versus the other people that only have 10. Well, if there's 100 players that are going up to the table and 90 of them are random rollers and only 10 of them are dice setters, you've got 90 chances that at least a couple of those players are going to have a long roll. It's just math and a little physics. And that's exactly what happened. She was a random roller. She had the right time, the energy. You talk about positive energy. So you've got 90 chances that a random roller is going to roll versus 10% dice setters. And out of those 10% dice setters, maybe only 50% of them are staying on access 50% of the time. Most dice setters go off access. That's another class. We won't get into it. So, you have to look at your odds, 90-10. And I mentioned that in one of our classes. So anyways, I don't think we have any questions per se. We have a lot of good comments. I hope people enjoyed it. And like I said, we'll be on the underneath. We'll mention some things. The question was, what's the book title? Well, it's called Platinum Craps and Dice Setting. Okay, you can go on. You can go online and check it out. It's got all the information you need to become a better dice setter. It gives you ways to play. I mean, it's got a lot of great information. But as I said, don't believe me. Go on Amazon, type in Platinum Craps and Dice Setting, read the reviews. They paid their money. And yeah, I got a couple haters out there. I know who they are. I love the haters. It means that they're paying attention to what you have to say. My favorite was this guy, Steve, in Colorado. He said, hey, Garrison, I didn't buy your book, and here's my review. I went, what review? There's no review. But what are you going to do? Okay. I read a good quote, if I could find it. I forget where it is. I found this quote by a scientist. He said, I found a quote that I thought you'd find interesting. One mistake you should never make in life is not allow yourself to be recruited by somebody who dislikes another person that has not wronged you. Only a fool inherits other people's enemies as a sign of loyalty. So it's our goal to give you the information to make you better players. We put together the Platinum Craps and Dice Super System. John Patrick, he's the Warren Buffett of gambling authors. He's written 15 books. Okay, his books are out of print. He sends us the books absolutely signed and autographed. So when we give you a book, it's signed and autographed. Now, I went on Amazon or eBay, I saw this book. They were selling it for $600. And somebody will probably pay for that. I mean, I think it's a little high. Our whole system costs less than your buy-in for everything. The classes, the videos, the flash drive, the cards. I even send you a pair of dice, okay? So everyone says our prices are too low. I said, yeah, I know, but I'd rather have the customers have the information than try to charge them $1,000, $1,500. We don't do that. So anyways, guys, I hope this has helped you a little bit. If you want to get a hold of... Go ahead, Gwen. Gwen wants to say something.
How's John Patrick doing?
Oh, how's he doing? I talked to him a couple weeks ago. He's sharp as a tack, guys. You know, his brain is sharp, his voice is sharp. I'm going to have a show in a couple months, and I think I'm going to bring him on. He's slowing down physically, okay? You know, he's going to be, January 3rd is his birthday, so next year I think he'll be 94, right in there. Yeah, I've got his chart somewhere, but I think he'll be 94. But he goes to the casino. He has a lady that takes him there. He likes to play Pai Gow poker because he can't stand at the craps table. So he plays Pai Gow. He still plays poker occasionally with some of his friends. But when you talk to him, you think you're talking to Jack Benny. He's 39 years old. I mean, he's sharp as a whip, okay?
Exactly.
You know? I mean, this guy is on target. And he loves working with new people, okay? I mean, I've known him forever, okay? We go back almost 50 years. And as long as you're open to information, he will help you.
I love talking to him.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's talked to Gwen a couple times. But if you want to be an idiot and you think you can know everything, he'll rip you apart. That's just the way it is. He's a Capricorn. There's two sides of him, the bull and the bear, okay? I always get on the good side of him. I love the guy, and I've known him forever. By the way, you talk about a feather in our cap. John Patrick, who's written 15 books, did all the classes, he wrote the foreword for the Platinum Craps and Dice Setting book. I mean, I couldn't thank him enough. You know, he was just unbelievable. He helped us out so much. I was trying to bring up something. Okay, so yeah, he actually wrote the foreword. So, and he doesn't write for that many people. Trust me. Okay, so it's somewhere around here, but you'll see it, and I forget. Well, yeah, there it is. Okay, and he wasn't a dice setter. Okay. But he's practiced dice setting with the information that we put together. And John, I can't thank you enough. I mean, you know, you've done more than we could ever ask for. And he's been on our shows. Like I said, go up to your search bar, type in the 10 top myths, MYTHS in craps. John gets on a roll at the end of that show. I mean, you got to love it. You never know where he's going to go, okay? But you got to love the guy. So, yeah, he's doing well. I'll probably talk to him later this week just to say hello, see how he's doing. And we're going to get him on as a guest on another show. So, all right, well, listen, if there's nothing else, yeah, you're right, Biff, never a dull moment, okay? So there's a little round of applause for Biff, okay? So, Gwen, we want to thank you for all your expertise. We hope we've opened up some people's eyes to other information about how they can win, when to play, when not to play. And I'm sure we're going to bring you on again, and, we'll take it to the next level.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me.
All right, well, don't go away. I'm going to put you in the green room. I'm going to come back after we sign off. So,
Okay.
Listen, guys, we just want to thank you for being, on the show, for being our guest. We definitely want to thank everybody. We hope you had a good time. We hope you learned a few things. And as always, guys, we'll see you next time. Keep it funky, win some money, learn how to play on all four tables. Do, choppy, torpedo. Learn your dice sets. Learn everything there is, and then when you learn all that, then we can get into timing. Okay? We hope to see you next time. And as always, guys, good luck at the tables.